Boom. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in to the BAMF podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lafferty. Here is Ross Watson. Here's
Hi.
Jacob Blackman. Hey. And now, because we're a professional, high production value podcast, we're going to play our musical intro. And that assures you, gentle viewer, that this is a high quality professional podcast. No doubt about it. And today we're here to talk about Captain America: Brave New World, the new Captain America movie with Sam Wilson as Cap.
That's right.
And before we go, I want to mention there's a little banner scrolling directly beneath Ross's beard. tinyurl.com/superpowered legends. It's because our friend Jacob here is running a Kickstarter tangentially related to the Marvel Universe because, Jacob, why don't you tell us about Superpowered Legends?
For those not familiar with Superpowered Legends, it is a superhero universe that I created initially for the Mutants and Masterminds role-playing game. There have been some characters converted into the icon system, and we call those iconic legends. But right now, the Superpowered Legends, we are kickstarting its second collected volume of characters.
So it's even more closely related to this podcast because it's Marvel, a tangential, and it's a sequel. Sorry, Jacob, please continue.
Yeah. It is tangentially related to Marvel in that all of the characters are homage characters to the Marvel Universe. So you're going to see like a friendly neighborhood spider type character or a patriotic shield wielding character and all that sort of thing. A brightly colored giant muscled rage machine character. So all that sort of thing. If you want to know how to make a certain type of Marvel character, you will likely find them in the Superpowered Legends roster.
I can say this. I have the first collected edition book, and I am very proud to own it. It is full of awesome artwork, great characters, useful stat blocks. If you're at all interested in playing Icons or Mutants and Masterminds, you should probably pick this up because it will give you tons of characters to use in your game.
I'm a big fan.
Allies and enemies.
Allies and enemies. All right. Well, hey, tinyurl.com/superpowered legends. Now that the pimping section of the show is gone, Brave New World. Ross, you had thoughts?
That's right. I've watched this movie twice. And I have seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is the lead up into it. And I will say I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was very good, bordering on greatness. And there's just some excellent scenes throughout this film. Overall, it I think it's a good entry into the Captain America list of films, which are almost all incredible. They're in the top echelon of Marvel films, generally speaking, and this stands amongst them, in my opinion.
Yeah, we actually saw this together at Elmer Draft Notes.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. What Ross actually downplays a little is that there's a couple of things you might need to see before this movie. They're not entirely necessary, but for those Marvel film series completionists, there's several movies you'll want to see ahead of time. You know, the Captain America movies that came beforehand, certainly. Winter Soldier, Captain America and Winter Soldier, absolutely, because that's the first one where Sam takes the mantle. But besides that, for one of the plot important for the MacGuffin of the movie, you want to see the Eternals film.
Yeah, unfortunately, you have to watch the Eternals if you want to get a little more backstory on MacGuffin, but it's not that necessary, and I don't think I would intentionally make anyone go see the Eternals. So
And besides that, you may want to watch the second film in the MCU, The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah,
the movie that they try to get away from so bad. I don't think it's even on Disney Plus.
You know, so I can be honest with I think Jacob will understand probably more than anybody else in this call. But one thing that excited me the most about this particular movie, which is Brave New World, is that we are finally seeing that long form storytelling that comics does so well.
Yes.
In cinema, because Brave New World is a continuation of a lot of stuff that was left behind 17 years ago.
Yeah.
In the Incredible Hulk film, and they bring it forward now, and I'm like, God, this is like a kid with a comic book going, oh my God, this world is so much bigger than I thought, because they're talking about stuff from, 50 comics ago. So that long form storytelling has made a comeback here with, you could argue it's been build up, and game certainly is a part of that. But this is the first one where I really felt it viscerally.
Mm-hmm. This is something that Owen and I were discussing one time. The only thing that beats out soap operas for long-term storytelling is comic books. There have been the Marvel Comics continuity has been going on longer, unimpeded than most soap operas.
Interestingly enough, there is a Filipino soap opera about a superhero that's been going on since 1950, called Darna. And so Darna is a great example of that, specifically. Soap operas and comic books.
So yeah, the fact that we get a lot of these plot points finally coming to fruition in this movie is just wonderful to watch.
Agreed.
Oh, hey, we have a comment. I love the Incredible Hulk film from 2008, but Captain America film wraps the loose ends for that film. No Bruce Banner, such a waste. I think that's fair. Yeah, I kind of wanted to see Bruce Banner in this. Having Betsy Ross was a nice touch, but I felt like there should have been a Hulk cameo at least, I thought.
Oh, there definitely is a Hulk, but
there was a Hulk.
There is a Hulk. There's issues with, I believe, the licensing for Incredible Hulk, where Universal has those, and so there's only so far they can go to make a not Incredible Hulk film. That's a good point. In that, if they were gonna revisit the Hulk, why not do it in a Hulk movie? I'm not sure they're allowed to, per se, but I think this one pulls it off fairly well. I mean, yeah, good point, but I think they did the best they could with what they had.
Yeah, I like this movie. I'm not going to be the contrarian, but maybe a little bit I am. There were extensive reshoots, and there were a few places where it kind of felt like it. There were a few scenes to me that felt kind of rushed and stitched together. It didn't ruin the movie, but I looked it up later and I was like, okay, there was extensive reshoots, and Moff Gideon, Giancarlo Esposito, was not in the first act of the movie originally. There was some WWE wrestler who was written out completely because he didn't test well with test screenings, and then he wrote this new character and put him in there. So,
well, Sidewinder's freaking great, so I think it was a positive change overall. There are reshoots. There's no doubt about that.
It doesn't damn a movie. I mean, Rogue One was one of my favorite Star Wars films, at least the second act of it. And it had the same kind of thing, extensive reshoots. Release was delayed almost a year, so they could redo that. So, it was that. I liked it. There was, I guess, like our commenter said, I kind of wanted to see a little bit more of the Marvel. I thought having having Bucky show up at one point was kind of nice.
Best scene of the film, honestly.
Yeah,
I really liked the scene where he showed up because it shows he's trying to do something in his life other than just go out and be a superhero, mercenary, or whatever. He's actually trying to make a life for himself in the future.
And the message that he gives to Sam is so awesome. It's, listen, Steve was a beacon of hope. You are what people aspire to. You can lean into that. You don't need the super soldier serum. You can be the guy that everyone else wants to be. And that's echoed with Falcon later on in the film, where he says, I always wanted to be you, to Sam. So, yeah, I thought that scene was, it's really the heart of the film in a lot of ways.
I would agree.
And the film does really show how much he has to work in order to maintain his role as Captain America. Because, we're used to watching scenes of Steve coming in and just dominating a battlefield and just taking people out with 1 or 2 hits, maybe. Sam has to work for his fights. Sam has to work for his victories. And you see it. And you also get to see a nice training scene where he is training against Isaiah Bradley, the Black Captain America, and he's taking the fact that he has to fight superpowered people seriously.
Shout out to Carl Lumley, who is not only Isaiah Bradley, he's also the voice of John Jones in the JLA and JLU shows, which he's awesome about that. So Homeboy gets to be 2 of the biggest superheroes in 2 different universes. So well done, sir.
Fantastic roles.
Yeah.
He's in the Chris Evans club.
Oh no, Chris Evans has done more super comic book roles than Lumley, but
it's sad that Leader didn't have the weird science gadgets from his comics origin, other than Red Hulk, that is.
You're forgetting the sonic device that he uses to kill D-Man.
And he
killed D-Man.
His mind control devices.
Mind control device, but he also kills D-Man, which I really was not. I was first of all excited to see D-Man in his civilian identity as David Dunphy, the SEAL guy who gets killed by the Leader. That he does get to use the device there to kill him.
I've been wanting to see D-Man in the MCU for so long, and that was kind of a bummer. I didn't really care for how the Leader looked, but I understand that's a hard character appearance to translate to the MCU. So
I think if they had done the way the Leader usually looks, people might have thought it was like a joke. I have a super giant brain. It's like let's not. Let's just not.
Yeah, especially after MODOK and Quantumania, let's just not. But the Leader. Okay, let's talk about the Leader a little bit. He's not one of the greatest Marvel villains, but he's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And what I like about the Leader is he actually wins a partial victory by the end of the film.
Yes.
He doesn't quite fully succeed in his plan, but he does manage to get Ross out of the White House and in prison, which it's a big step.
Yeah, much like Zemo in the previous Captain America film, Civil War. He actually mostly completes his objectives.
Oh yeah, Zemo flat out won. Mine Dova Mata says, "Oh, I meant the weird Mandroid tech from the 70s." Oh yes, Mandroids. How could I forget about the Mandroids? Those wild exoskeletons.
I had to Google that. That is kind of cool, though. Was this wishful fun? Was this movie kind of like, boy, it'd be nice if I had a president who had a criminal past, but he owned up to it and admitted it and did the right thing at the end and turned himself in.
I mean, I do feel like there's a message there that the president is actually a secret monster with strange colored skin who uses the flag as a weapon and attacks his own military and our allies. I believe there's some kind of message there that may be relevant.
It's subtle. It's subtle.
Nuanced. Yeah.
Nuanced. Perhaps enough said about that before this becomes a very depressing show. But yeah.
Well, I think it is important to talk about the flaws in this film, and there are some flaws. Let's start with the marketing. I hate the fact that the Red Hulk was spoiled by the marketing. It would have been such a better film if you didn't know what was going on with Ross and his medicine and all that.
Yeah, honestly, because they had the Red Hulk in the very first trailer that came out, I knew what the plot of the entire movie was going into it. And unfortunately, they thoroughly and entirely spoiled it.
I think another flaw for me is actually the final scene. The final scene with Cap and the Hulk, that is. Harrison Ford does a great job. I'm not here to slam on Harrison Ford, but I think writing-wise, like plot-wise, it would have made a lot more sense for Cap to go get Betty and bring her to the park and have her do that final speech to bring Hulk down. That would, I think, would have been a far superior ending.
Yeah, I would agree. If she was like, "Hey, big fella, the sun's getting real low. Got to calm down."
They have a different dynamic. They're father-daughter, not lovers.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't work. But
I was just trying to be funny. Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. I think the after credits scene was a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, it's just really the leader saying, "Get ready for stuff. There's more stuff."
There's more. I've done the equations. There's stuff coming. It's here on my calculator. You can see it, and there's not much beyond that. So,
there is another flaw. That's well, Jacob. Why don't you start? I mean, I need to marshal my thoughts here on this.
No, that's fine. I was impressed at the changes they made to a particular character in the movie. There is the head of security of President Ross is Ruth Bat-Saraf.
She's the NSA advisor. She's not head of security. Yes, Ruth Saraf,
played by Shira Haas,
better known as Sabra in the comic books, a Hulk opponent. And I'm actually glad to see that they took her out of being Captain Israeli and instead made her a ex-widow. That made so much more sense to me.
It could have been so bad if they had left her with her original origin, especially given the current climate.
Yeah, I agree. But she was great.
But what they did with the character and the changes they made so much more sense.
So the other scene I want to talk about as a flaw is when Harrison Ford does become the Red Hulk for the first time, the Secret Service opens fire on him. And in a world where Skrulls exist and Mysterio attacked London, there are almost certainly protocols in place for someone turns into a monster, do something about it. But I needed that one line. I needed one character to say something like, "Hulk protocols, open fire until we can get these civilians clear," or something. Just one line would have saved that whole scene.
Why is the military still just armed with guns in a world where superheroes have existed for as long as they have? Where is the Stark tech to protect the president from a supervillain attack?
Well, he stopped making weapons. There's a whole film about that, actually.
It doesn't have to be weapons. It could be defensive measures. Where is the capture to technology?
I thought you were talking about guns. Anyway,
because they literally should have come in with Guardian suits.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's one of the Spider-Man movies was all about someone
guardsman suits.
One of Michael Keaton, Vulture, was selling black market alien tech from the attack on New York. So we've established there's a lot of high power armament floating around. You would think the White House might have something, but I kind of wish they were a little cooler with the mind control tech. Just having everyone's phones hypnotize them and turn them into assassins, I thought was a little too Black Mirror for a Marvel movie, but I understand they needed something. So
he had to work with the technology he could in his prison cell.
Well, his prison cell was equipped as a lab, so
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he had nothing. But yeah, you're right. I think let's make this a compliment sandwich. Unless you guys got more flaws, I was going to go to the end and talk. I was going to finish up the rest of our time talking about the good stuff.
go for it.
Action scenes, fantastic.
Yes.
Jacob actually mentioned the training scene with Isaiah. That was really good. But there's the scene where Isaiah breaks out of the White House and jumps off the balcony down to the street. And I was like, oh, man, that's so cool.
Because this character is based on the Falcon, getting that long, extended flying combat scene over Celestial Island.
Basically, Top
that
Gun,
was a
Captain
great
America.
Scene.
Yeah, it was really good. I dug that a great deal. I also really like the symbolism of the cherry blossom gardens at DC, because those are actually a symbol of the alliance between the U.S. and Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So having the ending take place there after Japan had been ally and then antagonist and then ally again was actually very cool and symbolic. I enjoyed that a great deal. And the MacGuffin, if you have to use anything from Eternals, making it adamantium, I was like, okay, yeah, that works. I like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were. Oh, hey, wait. Another comment. Much limited tech used by leaders, smacked of saving money for special effects for jet fighting and Red Hulk. In fairness, there was an awful lot of CGI in this. All of those fight scenes were CGI, and all of the jets, and Sam and the Falcon kid, whose name I forget, fighting. Joaquin, yeah, fighting with those Japanese jet fighters. It's there was an extensive budget for this.
Yeah, what Mike's leaving out is that actually the whole film is CGI. They're not even really using real actors anymore. It's all green screen.
It's not green screen. It's all what is that thing called from Star Wars? The
Muppets.
The thing they filmed the Mandalorian in.
Oh yeah, the whatever they call that. I can't LED screen or something like that.
Yeah, it's this big LED
something
screen.
wall. Yeah, something wall, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, what we haven't really spoiled for people is that it's all Team America style marionettes. Sorry,
The volume. It's called the volume.
The volume. Is that what they call
The
that?
volume.
Okay.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Yeah, Serpent Society was really cool. I actually look forward to seeing more of Serpent Society. They're a great villain group.
They have an extensive cast, so you can have them show up a lot.
Something that's fun is Rosa Salazar is credited as Diamondback. I guess they got rid of her in reshoots, but I definitely want to see Rosa Salazar as Diamondback. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the cast, the guy who plays Hulk was listed in the preliminary cast for this movie, so there might have been an actual Bruce Banner scene. This movie has not done super well. They still haven't broken even after a couple weeks out, so I don't know if we're going to see another Captain America movie after this. Sad to say. So,
I mean, that's always possible, but sometimes it takes a while for film to find its audience.
Yeah. Well, the next thing from Marvel we've got is Thunderbolts coming out later this year. How are you guys feeling about that?
I'm actually feeling a lot better about Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four after watching this movie. I was concerned. I'll be very clear. I was concerned. Then I saw this movie and I saw the trailers for Fantastic Four Thunderbolts, and I was like, I think these are going to be okay. They're going to be good.
Yeah, I've been liking the Fantastic Four stuff I've seen. Thunderbolts, I'll go see. I'm not feeling as enthused about that, but I'll give it a shot. Jacob, what do you think?
As someone who loved the original Busiek Thunderbolts is literally my 100% favorite comic ever. Those
I am
first 12
vigorously
issues,
nodding.
those first 12 issues
Yes.
is the best comic storytelling to exist ever. Period. End of
I mean,
sentence.
it's up there. It's definitely up there. It's so good. But this
That
series,
being said,
this is not that.
this is not those Thunderbolts. I think it's interesting what they're doing with these Thunderbolts, and I will certainly be watching the movie because I like these characters, but I'm not going into it expecting to see the Thunderbolts.
No, this is
The Thunderbolts means something very specific to me.
Agreed. I'm with Jacob on this one, but still, David Harbour and Florence Pugh are both excellent actors, and I have a feeling they're going to do well. My only concern now is whether Ghost and Taskmaster will be entertaining to watch, because I did not find them particularly entertaining in the films that they came from before.
Yeah. I am hoping that as well. I'm hoping they will make interesting characters out of them in this.
Oh, and Bucky. Let's not forget Bucky. Sebastian Stan's going to kick some butt, too.
Yeah, apparently James Buchanan is not winning his congressional race, and he's still doing superhero stuff. So,
unfortunately, I know who the villain is in the Thunderbolts film, and I do not like that character.
Is it the Sentry?
Yes.
well, yeah, they kind of spoil that, don't they? I don't know. We'll see what they do. What they did with Taskmaster in the Black Widow movie, it kind of gives me pause, because that should have been a really interesting character who they found a way to make kind of boring. So
yeah, I'm with you on that. Let's hope that they fix that somehow.
yeah, there. I really like Ghost, but I haven't seen her in 5, 6, 7 years. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, what I'm showing a panel from Busiek's Thunderbolts from the 1990s. Good Lord. Yeah, it was a great comic. I don't know. It's kind of like they sort of take the ideas kind of and the title. I mean, I really like. Huh?
No. This movie is not at all like Jacob says. The Thunderbolts, Kurt Busiek's Thunderbolts, is a very specific thing.
Yeah.
That can only really be done in long form storytelling. To be clear, and let's not forget Mark Bagley's artwork was also fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
As an artist, Jacob, of course, knows this.
Yes.
Fair enough. Well, any closing thoughts? We're coming in on the 30-minute mark.
I recommend it. I recommend Captain America. Go see it. If you don't need to see it in the theaters, I certainly recommend streaming it when it becomes available.
I'm going to echo Jacob on that. Brave New World was a really good movie, bordering on greatness. I enjoyed it a great deal, and I hope anybody who likes Sam Wilson should definitely check it out. Oh, and Harrison Ford does a lot of pointing.
Hey, you shouldn't point. I'm only pointing at you because you pointed at me.
So do we think Harrison Ford's going to show up as the Red Hulk in Avengers Doomsday?
I don't think he's going to show up as the Red Hulk ever again.
No, I think that was a one and done.
You think Harrison got that check and he's out? Back in Wyoming, flying his helicopter and hanging out with the part? Yeah, probably so.
Hey, listen, Harrison Ford is a great human being, and he is. I am more than happy to let him do whatever he wants to do.
Fair enough. All right, on that happy note, though, folks, thanks for tuning into the Banff podcast, and we will catch you next time.
Woo! Thank you.
Banff.